in this video we're going to talk about tree diagrams. And tree diagrams can help you get a visual of your number of outcomes. And depending on what you're trying to figure out, sometimes they are extra work, but sometimes they really can give you a great visual. So let's say we're flipping two coins and we want to figure out the probability of getting heads. So we're going to flip our two coins, and I'm going to show you how to do it with the tree and how to do it without. So here's our first coin, and we're going to flip it 4 times. So first coin I get heads, first time head, the second time tails, the third time tails, the fourth time. My other coin I get heads, tails, heads, tails. So if I look, here's my 4 possible outcomes. I got heads, 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 tails, tails, heads, and tails, tails. So out of my 4 possible outcomes, 3 of them contain at least 1 head. So if I ask for the probability of at least 1 head, I would say my probability is 3/4, or 0.75. Now, if we had made a tree diagram of that, it would look something like this. For our first event, which is our first flip, we would have gotten heads or tails. 50% chance of heads, 50% chance of tails. Then, after that, our second one, we could have gotten heads or tails. So if we got heads on the first one, we either got heads on the second one or tails on the second one. If we got tails on the first one, we either got heads on the second one or tails on the second one. You only have to do 2 events, because you're either going to get heads or tails the first time and then 1 selection on the second one. And then you have to figure out your probability of everything. Well, when you're flipping a coin, the chance of getting head or the chance of getting tails is always going to be 50%. So you know your number for each of these is going to be 0.5. So then to figure out the probability of each flip, you simply multiply them. So first event, chance of getting heads is 0.5. The chance of getting heads on the second one is also 0.5. So we multiply them and find that our probability of getting 2 heads is 0.25. We're going to have the same probability of getting heads and tails, of getting tails and heads, and then of getting tails and tails. When you add it all up, you should find that your probability adds to equal 1. Now, the question we're trying to answer is, what is the probability of getting at least 1 head out of our coin flips? Well, you've got 3 that involve heads. This one, and this one. So once again, if we added them all up, you get a probability of 0.75. Okay, so let's look at another problem. In this problem, we're going to play soccer, and we want to figure out what is the probability of being the soccer goalie that day. Well, you've already done some guesswork, or some calculations. It's not even guesswork. And you know that when Sam is the coach, the probability of you being picked as goalie is 0.5. When Alex is the coach, the probability of you being picked as goalie is 0.3. And you know that Sam is the coach at about 6 out of every 10 games, or 6/10 of the time. So let's make a tree diagram to figure out what is the probability of you being the goalie. So the first event is who's going to be the coach, Sam or Alex. Well, we've got Sam, and the probability of him being coach is 6/10 of the time, which means that Alex is the coach 4/10 of the time, because remember, it has to add up to equal 1. Now, our second event is who is goalie. You've got 2 choices, me or not me. And when Sam is coach, it's going to be 50% of the time, so it means it's not me the other 50% of the time. Alex, it's you 0.3% of the time, which means it's not you 0.7% of the time. So now you've got to figure out the probability to represent each situation. So, when Sam's a coach and you are a goalie, 0.6 times 0.5 equals 30. Same thing for when you're not goalie. 0.6 times 0.5 still equals 0.30, or 3/10. Now, if Alex is coach and you are goalie, 0.4 times 0.3 equals 0.12. Alex is coach and you're not goalie, 0.4 times 0.7 and 0.28. Again, these should all add up to equal a total of 1. And mathematically, 2 and 8 gives you 0. Carry the 1. 7, 8, 9, 10. So this will give you 1. Now, the question in your notes is, what is the probability of you being the soccer coach? So you want to go back and look. Sam is the coach and you are. It's 0.30. Alex is the coach and you are. It's 0.12. So the probability of you being the soccer coach is 0.42, or 42%. Now, there's one more example in your notes. Why don't you do those for class tomorrow?